I am your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I have been watching a series of videos made by different commentators on the tapes from Equatorial Guinea, tapes made by Belshazzar. I was invited upstage to speak at Asaba, and somebody said something about Equatorial Guinea. And I told them that if they reveal some tips of some people in that audience, the tips will be more expository than those of Equatorial Guinea. Now, thief when then catch, now be thief. I want to share some insights into human sexuality and human nature when it relates to copulation. Number one, when you have the following P's as a man, women will be attracted to you. P number one, power. If you have political power, you have financial power, you have intellectual power, you have spiritual power, women will be attracted to you. It's just natural. In fact, one research showed that if you're a charismatic pastor and you pastor more than 100 women, that 40% of them will consider it a privilege to have an affair with you. So, power attracts females, particularly when the power is obvious. Spiritual power, political power, financial power, and intellectual power. You will see there are some people who are very brilliant intellectually. They hardly stay with one wife. Women will keep invading into their lives and their space. And so you see a wealthy man has had several women. I'll give you a tip later. When you are in a position of influence, a position of authority, a position where you can give people favor, a position of relevance, women will be attracted to you. The next thing is that when you are popular, another P, women want to associate with popularity. Popularity from sports, popularity from music, popularity from whatever. They want to associate with you. The next P is your possessions. When you have possessions that are physical, that are visible, that are attractive, from your cars to your clothing to your housing, whatever, businesses, they will be attracted to you. The next P is your personality. If you are humorous, women like to laugh. Women are generally humorous. There is this Jill string man that farts in public. And there is Pabu. I subscribe to Pabu. Cynthia. When Pabu makes videos and he makes them around women, the women laugh a lot. If it's a mixture of women and men, the women are usually the ones that will laugh more. So women like humor. So your personality, if you are gentle, you are well dressed, you are articulate, you are organized, women will be attracted to you. Then your prowess, what you can do. My lawyer that watched the videos, me, I didn't watch because there is really nothing new to see, to see in a video of a man and a woman in compromising positions. Some of us grew up in the streets. Some of us didn't get born again as angels. Some of us, if you attended University of Ife, in those days we used to come to Ife from Ibadan to watch Agodu in the 80s. They showed Agodu in the university. And we even had projectors in our room in those days where we used to show films, and those kind of films were readily available. So it's nothing new. There's nothing about human male and female relationship that I don't know, that I've not seen. It's just monotony. It's just friction. Poko, 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 poko. It's just monotony. So I have not watched them, but I can imagine what is there. Somebody told me, and I also heard a woman say the man grab. So the man is endowed below. And so sometimes women like people who have such prowess, physical prowess like David, that the women sang. Saul has killed his thousands. David has killed his tens of thousands. And you know how David's other prowess, how it led to the death of a man, and he took his wife. So prowess. So these are things that attract people to women, to men. Then men are attracted by what they see. And so when there is close proximity between a man and a woman, the man's eyes, I would share with you, the man's eyes can start feasting on a woman. And if the man is not disciplined, he can virtually strip the woman with his eyes. And the way these women dress nowadays, particularly in those countries from West Africa down to Southern Africa, they are not conservative like the northern part of Africa. They are very expository. And sometimes it is borderline exhibitionism. In Nigeria here, you will see a woman who is in her 40s wearing only pants to take pictures, showing bum to young boys. They are expository. And women sometimes like to flaunt their dressing, their figures, and all that. And so men get attracted. The next thing is that men have sexual fantasies. There are fantasies in their brains. Nearly every person condemning that man now, I use the word nearly, not every person. A great percentage of those condemning that man, if they had an opportunity to do what he did and they will not be caught, they will do it. They even wish in their minds that they had an opportunity to do it without being caught. Let me explain to you. When that woman was caught in adultery, was brought before Jesus, I can speculate what he wrote. Number one, whose daughter is this woman caught in adultery? Is the husband not committing adultery too? I know the husband commits adultery. Number three, you in front with the stone, with yellow t-shirt. Were you not the one that committed adultery with one woman last time they didn't catch you? You with blue shirt, if they allow this woman with you alone and no person will catch you, would you not want to commit adultery? Have you not been looking at her in the synagogue? Don't you know that when you look at somebody lustfully, that you have committed adultery to? And I suspect he recounted those who had committed adultery there as males that were not caught. And they said, Who amongst you that is innocent should cast the first stone? Because none of them was innocent, they dropped the stone. The next thing I want to say is that it is not only men that have sexual fantasies. Women also have sexual fantasies. From time immemorial, Lot's daughters were virgins, but they were, I don't want to use the arrow word, in quotes, in their spirit man, they had fantasies that when they found themselves in a compromising situation with their father, they made him drunk. If they were virgins, how did they come about the act of copulation with the father and then subsequently for 2 consecutive days, and they got pregnant and produced Moab and Ammon? It has been in their minds. It's only that society was restraining them, culture was restraining them, and I'm going to share about restraint. So people have fantasies. Now, this generation of women, from the way they dress, from the way they talk, I was reading the comments of women, and I could see that a lot of the women of this generation, they don't have the restraints that our mothers or our wives in our generation had. Even in our generation, women committed adultery. So women also fantasize. I know and I've heard of young boys who are gigolos, who are male opomilikis. One woman, one cougar, you know what cougar is? Cougar. One cougar will taste this young man and then recommend the young man to another cougar. They can even tell the young man, please, charge her a lot, she has money. And they will be passing this young man from one cougar to the other, one cougar to the other. Because a lot of the women who were involved in that activity were married. Number 2, somebody said that none of them had tattoos on their bodies. So they were not obviously promiscuous people, in quotes, that are visible. They covered up their adventurism by conservatism. Just looking at it, they covered up their adventurism. But the seed is there. None of them had tattoos. None of them looked streetwise. They had this garb of responsibility, but they were cougars. There was a hotel owner that died with 2 girls. The man was not a young man. The young girls suggested a procedure that will involve trauma, binding, and all that. And the old man, his fantasy was triggered by what the girls suggested, but the girls wanted to rob him. And in the process, he died. He was deleted, and the girls took his assets away until they were arrested. So there are fantasies in both males and both females. The next thing you must know is that the age bracket of the women involved, they've stopped. Most of them had had enough children, because even the man's wife was involved in in her own escapades with the knowledge of the husband. So that society is a permissive society. If it is only that they are micro society, that they are gang, it's a permissive society. And it is in Nigeria where people is also present, where people exchange wives in parties. It is there. It's only that the tapes have not been revealed. Prominent citizens, wives of prominent people, it is there. Somebody that baby oil that was revealed in America, nobody knew baby oil was there and the types of people who were involved in baby oil. So there is this crazy fantasy in human mind concerning sexuality, concerning wealth, concerning travel, concerning food, concerning music. The fantasies are there. Now, let me explain to you something to you. The greatest key that can prevent you from falling into such traps, 3 arrows. Arrow number 1, restraint. I will explain restraint later. Arrow number 2, respect for yourself, respect for institutions like marriage, respect for relationships, your brother's wife, your uncle's wife, president's sister, respect for yourself, respect for your spouse, respect for your responsibility, respect for your relationships with others. Don't let any person deceive you. We are all tempted, but it is not compulsory you fall. So that's why restraint is very important. Respect for boundaries is very important. Arrow number 3, relationships. You must have people in your life who can rebuke you. You must have people in your life who can restrain you. You must have people in your life who you fear and respect that you will not want to let down. Very important. Let me add arrow number 4. Arrow number 4, your religion. Your religion should provide a level of respect, restraint, and a relationship with God that you fear to offend God. Joseph said, how can I commit such an evil against God, not the man? Then he drew his boundary, his respect for boundaries. He said, this man has given me everything in this house apart from you. How can I do such a wicked thing? And he fled away from the man. Adultery, promiscuity is a deep, narrow well, according to the Bible. I did a video that I suffer from deliberate gynophobia. I just naturally fear women. Naturally fear women. Because no matter how spiritual you are, if you are not careful, you will be brought down. Now, this fantasy I talked about, when there is fantasy, you secrete hormones and you secrete chemicals too. One of the key chemicals that you secrete that when you are excited is dopamine. When you take drugs, you do any activity that excites you, dopamine is secreted. And when the activity is over, the dopamine levels fall. For you to get another excitement, you need another dose and another higher dose. So the man must have started without video recording. And then the need to video record and to watch the videos. I was told that from the comments, I've been following the comments, I've not watched, that one of the women was even adjusting the camera. The women were staring to the camera. I suspect that those women were also watching those videos at home and showing to their friends that subsequently made them to flock to the man. So every person is an accessory to the activity. Nobody is innocent. And so that excitement level, you keep increasing it. You keep increasing it until it leads to addiction. Then there are some people who have chromosomal defects. YYX chromosome. You have double Y. A lot of people in the prisons who are sexual perverts have double YX chromosome. So they secrete an abnormal level of testosterone that drives their sexual appetite. Now, so that this video will not be too long, I want to ask some questions and I will provide answers to elucidate what I'm saying. Number one, bicycle tire. A bicycle, the brake pad, and that of a motorbike, which one is bigger? Definitely the brake pad of a motorbike. The brake pad of a motorbike and a racing car, which one is bigger? Definitely the brake pad of a racing car or any normal car. The brake pad of a Mack truck, and that of a car, which one is bigger? The brake pad of a car is definitely smaller than the brake pad of a truck. The brake pad of a caterpillar and a bulldozer and the brake pad of a truck, which one is bigger, wider? The brake pad of a caterpillar, a bulldozer, is definitely wider than the brake pad of a truck. Now, when airplanes want to stop, sometimes when I sit near the wings by the window, I'm always fascinated. The airplane going at maybe 800 kilometers per hour, 900 kilometers per hour, particularly those aircraft F-16s that fly from aircraft carriers. When they want to land, as they are landing, number one, you will see smoke coming out of the tires. That is, there is a great restraint. Their tires must be definitely very thick and resistant to blowout. And then you will see the F-16 as it is landing, there is a hook behind it that grabs a chain, a wire, a cable, very tough cable, grabs the cable, and that cable restrains it. Sometimes parachutes can shoot out to restrain the F-16 landing on the aircraft carrier. If not, it will overshoot. And then, as the plane is about to land, the wings bring out flaps that cause resistance so that the plane can stop. As a man, as a woman of prominence, or any person, you must do a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is SWOT. S stands for your strength, W for your weaknesses, O for your opportunities, T for your threats. Your threats can be human, can be external, but most times your threats are internal and they walk through your weaknesses. So when you know your weaknesses and you know your threats, you must exercise maximum restraints. Don't only have big brake pads and big brake system. Have flaps that can restrain you, build resistance. Then have cables that can hook you. Growing up as a young man, I know my weaknesses. I know my threats. I know who I am. I'm not a very normal person. I know what I have seen. I know what I have done. But the institution of marriage, arrow number one, respect. I want to respect my institution of marriage. So the marriage bed should be honored and undefiled, so I don't do adultery. I've been married for 39 years. One dirty girl on social media, I say, Dr. Apoki, go and do adultery. I'm not as stupid as you are. I am not as lousy as you are. I am a mentor. I have become a global citizen. Many people look up to me. There are some things I should not do because I am an F-16 or an aircraft that is flying a long distance, and I carry a lot of burden, and I must exercise restraint personally, and I need a cable that can hold me. So my faith has also helped me. There's too much lousiness in our churches, particularly Pentecostalism. In Anglican and in the Catholic Church, people are still afraid of committing adultery because they will not take Holy Communion. Say whatever you like, I still respect those denominations. There are denominations like the Apostolic Faith. If you sin, they would behave as if you have killed somebody. The Assemblies of God Church in those days, I don't know of now. Scripture Union. In those days in the Scripture Union, if somebody lived in fornication, the whole fellowship would start crying as if they were the ones who lived in fornication. Assemblies of God, if they hear, they know, they confirm, they will disfellowship you or put you in the back seat. No matter how big you are, you will serve punishment. In fact, any resemblance of iniquity, the Assemblies of God Church will act as if it is iniquity. So, but there's so much looseness and lousiness. When you see pastors coming to teach the act of copulation, demonstrate rubbish in the altar, the spirits of men are polluted. When you see girls come to sing sing in the choir with tight-fitting trousers, with pubic area exhibiting trousers, we are human, we are not yet spirits. Thoughts will start. I was in a church in Durban, and the girl that came to sing special number, I closed my eyes throughout. I closed my eyes throughout. Lead me not into temptation is better than deliver us from evil. What is obvious in those videos and the scandal is lack of respect for themselves. Imagine is it vice president's daughter or one person. Imagine a pregnant woman. Imagine your cousin. I've had some. Yeah, I know somebody, a prominent person, did that in a local community. Slept with all kinds of people, and the ancestors grabbed his throat, and they had to offer sacrifice for him. I know what I'm talking about. I know a pastor's wife that a man in the church where she is mama and the husband is papa, that one man slept with 11 times. She was counting it. 11 times. A member slept with the wife. The young man had to sell the church and pack away from town with his wife. A member, you are sleeping with mama. A member. There are so many things going on in our societies. Equatorial Guinea is just a tip of the iceberg. Things going on in secondary schools, in villages, in churches, in mosques, in hospitals, in schools. I have old men who are older than I am who come to gist me of their escapades until I rebuke them. He has them in his phone. I know, old man, older than I am. It's just that that man was being investigated for another thing and he was caught. Am I giving excuses for him? No, no. Excuses for the women? No. They are reckless. They are evil in their acts. Because a lot of the videos from comments, they were consensual. And if the man was not investigated, maybe up to 1,000 videos will have been seen, like baby oil. Now, the Bible says that in the last days, people will indulge in this kind of activities. ORGIES. They will get involved. Or let me use oranges. They will get involved in oranges. Come on. All over the place. A young man left a church service to go and commit suicide because the man of God was molesting him. And they were to settle out of court. The man of God eventually died from what the looks might have had HIV. Lack of respect, lack of restraint, lack of proper understanding of relationships. How can you sleep with a pregnant woman? How can you sleep with your brother's wife? How can you sleep with somebody? You, the wife, do you have respect for yourself? You have respect for your children. The higher you want to go, the faster you want to go, the bigger the burden you carry, the bigger your brake pad, and the stronger the cable that should hold you. All men have sinned and come short of the glory of God. But we must not live in sin perpetually. We must not drink sin like coffee. Equatorial Guinea is in every man's mind, every woman's mind, but the power of respect, restraint, relationship will guide you so that you don't fall. I remain the area grandfather, Dr. Charles Apoki. Those who have ears, let them hear. Our next webinar is coming up on the 6th and on the 7th of December. That's the final one for the year. It is tagged Maximizing Your Life, Finances, and Ministry. Maximizing Your Life, Finances, and Ministry. Send a message to +234 8021 9262. You need to learn these things. You need to learn them and do well in life. God bless you.